So I've managed to break down getting more high-ticket clients into 5 key steps. Now, what I see a lot of people doing is they understand what these 5 steps are, but then they don't handle them in the right order. So they're trying to solve problem 5 when the reality is they should be trying to solve problem 3. And I recently went to a big mastermind and I saw this firsthand. People were asking questions about shit that they didn't even need to know the answer to because they haven't even unlocked that problem yet, okay? And I'm gonna break it down for you in this video, and knowing this is gonna allow you to just look at your business in a completely different light. You're gonna be able to see the exact problems as and when they're in front of you and know exactly what you need to do to work through them to then get to that next bottleneck. Because your goal, and it sounds weird, is to get to bottleneck 5. Because, teaser alert, bottleneck 5 is closing more deals. So if you can solve all of these problems to get you on enough calls with the right type of people, and your only problem is then closing them, this is like the holy land. This is where you want to be because you've now solved client acquisition, and the only thing you need to now crack is sales, which is another beast within itself. So the first bottleneck that most people face, and I'm going to assume you're running ads here because you're a smart guy or girl and you want to get results quickly and you want to be able to scale beyond like 20K a month, then the first problem that most people have is they're not getting leads in the door. They're not getting the appointments. And that kind of comes back right to the point of actually getting clicks on the ads, okay? And most people aren't. Most people have no clue about this. They run ads, they go, oh shit, I'm not getting anything come through. So it must be a problem in my funnel. It must be a problem with my landing page, my opt-in, my VSL. It must be a problem with my setters. And it's like, no, mate, your ads just suck. So you haven't even given it a chance to get to the next step and unlock that next bottleneck. So what can we do if we're not getting any clicks on our ads? And really, what is the benchmark we're looking for? Well, we're looking for, in our ads, our video ones, at least a 1.5% link click-through rate. And when we hit that number, that then tells us that, okay, from the impressions that we're getting, enough people are clicking through on this ad that are clearly resonating well with the message and the ad is performing well, it's looking healthy. Now, this is just an indicator. We have some ads that will get us clients and booked appointments that get like a 0.75% click-through rate. That doesn't mean I turn them off, but this is what I'm aiming for, okay? So if your campaign right now, you're not getting any leads, but you can look at your ads and you can see that your link click-through rate is like 0.1%, well, it's a high chance that your ads suck, for lack of better words. So your messaging is probably way off. You're probably not actually conveying enough urgency or creating enough sort of intrigue in your ad for someone to actually click through and find out what the next step is. Maybe your call to action sucks inside that ad. Maybe you're giving away everything up front rather than actually helping people take that next step and click on the ad and go into the opt-in page. So to solve this, we want to keep our ads super high level. We want to highlight a big pain point. We then want to show proof as to how we can help them solve it. And then we want to just give a simple CTA. And this also comes with testing more, right? Making sure that you've got enough creatives in your ad campaign. You know, let's say you're spending $100 per day. Well, you've got 10 ads inside of that are all split across that campaign. So you've got 10 at-bats. You've got 10 opportunities to actually hit that 1.5% click-through rate. And when you can do that, when you can solve that problem, and you're getting the click-through rate that you need, and you're getting the people actually hitting your funnel, because this could also be, you know, organic, whatever it may be. The next problem you're going to face is getting leads in the door, right? So if you're not getting leads right now, you know, you're not getting at least 5 to 10 leads per day, you're going to struggle to ever get to this holy land of being able to close a shitload of high-ticket deals. So what we need to do is need to crack this. Now, if you can get 1.5% and you can solve this first bottleneck of getting clicks, well, you've now unlocked the next problem. So how do we get more leads and what are we looking for here? Well, this one is actually quite simple to fix. Most of you should have the most basic ass opt-in page ever, right? So on our pages, I've spoken about it so many times. We have a headline, we have then a button that then opens a pop-up where we collect their name, phone number, and email. And that headline is an extension of the ad. It's just us being congruent across that first part of the journey where they've heard a message, we've spoken about a pain point, we've told them how we fix it, some results that we get, they've clicked in on a landing page, and we're basically saying, hey, look, if you want to get access to actually watch this video to understand how it works, or you want to get access to the next step in the funnel, all you got to do is give us your quick details and then we'll move you through. And not 100% of the people that click through are going to opt in, obviously. What we're getting right now, we may get anywhere from, honestly, our funnel right now is like 10% and it's kind of shit, but we've had this as high as 30% on the opt-in. And again, it comes back to the type of audience you're working with. And so does this, right? Like if you're trying to work with people that are making $500,000 a month already, and your offer is like 25K or 50K, whatever it may be, you may find that you're going to get way less clicks because, well, your messaging is really targeted to a certain subsection of people within a demographic. And same on your landing page, right? If your headline is targeted towards those sort of people, well, naturally, there's just fewer of them. So you're going to find that you're opting in less people and you're going to get less people clicking through to that page. But if we just take it back to the basics and keep this as simple as possible, where there's really no room. These pens suck. Oh my God, they just break constantly. I'm gonna have to switch out to pink. You can actually see that. But if we can just keep it simple and just have this basic opt-in and we can aim for anywhere between 10 to 30%, then we're golden. That's like, sweet, we're gonna get leads coming through the door. So the way that we do this is we have, because we've kept the pages so simple, we've got the headline and the button, we don't test anything but the headline. So on page A, we'll set up a split test where we'll have one variation of headline, so head 1, and then on page B, we've got head 2. And it's similar, it's just a different variation. And then we run 50% traffic split across this. You can do this in most funnel builders, ClickFunnels, Go High Level, whatever you're using. And then we may find that headline 1 has a 10% opt-in rate, but just this slight variation on headline 2 has an 18%. So then we move 100% traffic to headline B, and all of a sudden, we've almost doubled our lead opt-ins. So we've now doubled the results that we're going to get from our ads. So this is why this is super important to get right and crack. So then what you do is you create another version that's similar to headline 2, and you keep testing until you get to 20% opt-in rates. You're chilling. Like, that's a great number to be at. Like I said, we're at 10. We was at 4%, but doing this, we've now moved that to 10. Okay, and this is crazy. Some people don't do this, and I've had one headline where I've literally changed it, and it's gone from 8% to like 24% overnight. So it's so imperative that you do this. And if you just try to focus on this back end and you haven't even looked at this, you're just shooting yourself in the foot and you're fucked. So the third bottleneck is obviously actually getting calls then booked. And again, it's a similar process. Like, most people will create all of this friction on their page. They'll have all of these 1,000,001 questions. You're asking someone their name of their dog, their hamster, their rabbit. You want to know all of their life details just before they can even book in a call with you. And the problem with that is, well, you're just creating too much friction rather than using it as a weapon. Now, we need to be using friction here because, well, everyone that comes through this lead opt-in and clicks on an ad might not yet be qualified. And what we don't want to do is just be stuck in bottleneck 5 with shit quality leads, okay? So what we do in step 3 is we still keep it simple. So we have like a headline. So we have this winning headline here on the call page and the VSL page essentially. Then we have a VSL explaining what we do. And then we have a button that then just sends people to the qualification step. I've probably drawn this out 1,000,000 times on this channel. Sorry if you've seen it 100 times. Qualification into call, right? So all we're doing is it's an extension of the opt-in. It's an extension of the ad. It's the same messaging. It's the same headline. We've now condensed that into like an 8-10 minute video, depending on who you're trying to sell to, where again, we're exposing pain. We're showing proof that we can help them solve it. And then we're giving them a call to action, which in our case is book a call. And then from there, we're sending them to the qualification step. But in the qualification step, we're not trying to overwhelm them. We're not trying to ask 400 questions. I want to think creatively about like who is actually going to be a qualified lead for us. For us, you really have to be making at least 15K per client for us to even work with you. And you have to be making over $25,000. So just knowing those two things allows me to disqualify people and send them through to our calendar to then actually book an appointment. So if everything goes well, and this is really seamless and really easy, and the messaging is all congruent, you shouldn't have any problem, especially if you're opting in at like 20% to then book calls. So a rate for booking calls for us, we will book anywhere from like 22 to 25% of all of our leads into booked appointments. Now this varies day by day. Some days it may be as high as 40%. Some days it may be as low as 15. But blended out, a 22 to a 25% booking rate from the leads that you're bringing in will fill your calendar and you're good. So you can see every single part of this feeds into the next. And most people are just sat here trying to solve bottleneck 3 without even understanding these first 2 bottlenecks in the first place. So this is easy. They go through, they watch the VSL, they click the button, they qualified, They then get sent to the calendar page. They then book in a call. Now, another thing, I spoke to a guy yesterday. His ads are killing it. He's got like a 3% click-through rate. He's got a great opt-in rate, like 15%, tons of leads coming through the door. He's getting loads of people go to his calendar page. He had like 65 people visit, but like 4 people book in. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I looked into his calendar. He's got availability for like 1 day next week because his closer's fully booked. So you have to be in tune with, okay, what's actually happening on the back end here? When people are hitting this page, can we look at that calendar page separately and see that there's a massive discrepancy of the amount of people that are hitting that page and actually booking in for a call? And if they're not booking in for a call, then there's a problem. And usually that problem is in your calendar. It's your availability. It's the hours that you've got available. It's the amount of closers that you got in. His question to me was, how should I solve this? Because I've only got 1 closer. And my answer was, you get on the calls. That's your problem solved, okay? And the answer isn't extending the calendar to be open for like 2 weeks because, well, if someone books 2 weeks out, then they're probably not going to show. Which leads us on to that 4th bottleneck, which is showing up to the appointments, right? And it feeds in perfectly to this because, well, these 4 people that booked in, maybe they had to pick a time that wasn't right for them. Okay, so that's one thing. I'm trying to make this look neat as possible rather than a mental asylum whiteboard. So it's about timing. It's about, actually giving people an opportunity to pick a time that works for them. So being in tune with your niche and the type of audience and the type of ICP you're working with. If you're trying to work with people that work 9 to 5 and you're selling like a biz op, probably running your calls during those times isn't going to work. If you're trying to work with business owners, they're probably going to be busy in the day too. So maybe opening up evening slots is going to help you improve that show rate. Now, another step to this is going to be actually the pre-framing of this call. If you're pitching this as a sales call and you're hard pitching, like we're going to fucking close you and your mum and your nan to get your money, and on that call, I'm going to take you for everything you've got, no one's going to show up, right? So we don't want to be doing that. What we do is we frame these calls as, we're busy, we book a shitload of appointments, we don't really need your business, and we have limited spots. So we've got this exclusivity gap now, and we're in control because, well, if you don't show up, it doesn't matter to us, but you clearly are in pain. We've clearly got the proof that we can help you, and you've gone through this entire system now. You've given us a level with intent by answering the questions, and you can see that you're actually qualified. So this call is now framed as, we're going to see if this is going to be a good fit, and if it's not, we're not going to sell to you. And this gives us, like, honestly, our show rate right now is ridiculous. It's like 85%, at least this week. It's been incredible. And I put that down to us pre-framing so hard, working with a super high quality client that isn't like running out of money or anything like that. They've got cash in the bank. They've got major problems that we can help solve. And because we've got so much proof, people know we can help them, and they know they're walking into a meeting where we're not going to be hard selling them. Now, on the other hand, you've got to have the automations on the back end. So your email reminders, your SMS, your AI agents reaching out, basically your speed to lead. And this ties into the actual opt-in as well, right? Like, you've got to be able to engage with these leads in multiple different places. You've got to be able to send them resources. I send people back to this YouTube channel. I say, go and watch some videos prior to our call so you can get to know me. And all of this stuff really, really helps us improve our show rate. Now, in terms of what you should be aiming for, it depends on your offer. Some people, if you're selling a biz op, it's going to be 50%. Like if you can hit 50%, fantastic. Who cares? Because you can just pump the front end and get way cheaper calls. But if you're selling something much higher ticket, you're working B2B, you're getting in touch with founders, then if you can get, 60%, I think that's a huge win. And you can make a ton of money on a 60% show rate. Obviously, anything more is golden, but that kind of comes with the territory of having everything else dialed in. Now, like I said, once you've done this, the 5th and final bottleneck is then just closing. So if you've got all of these steps in place and you're hitting a 1.5% around about on your ads for a click-through rate, you've got like a 10 to 30% opt-in rate. So everything's healthy here and you're running good split tests, you're getting a good amount of leads in, and then you're converting 22 to 25% of those leads into booked appointments, and 60% of those leads are actually showing up on those calls. You've now got a predictable machine in where you've got like all of the maths in front of you. So closing, providing you've done all of these steps right, should be much easier. Now, a problem that we faced was we went too heavy on just optimizing for the call, and we wasn't really focused on the amount of quality that was coming in. So we would book, let's say 100 calls, but really only 40 of those people would be right. So out of 100 people that showed up, basically 40% of those were actually a good fit and 60% weren't. So it was a waste of time and we wasted a ton of calendar space, right? So what we now do is, because we're so focused on this qualification step, we're so focused on this pre-framing and making sure that everyone's a right fit. And our messaging is so dialed in to the higher quality person. Well, actually, like I said, our show rate this week has been 85%, right? And I've closed 5 deals out of 85% show rate, all worth 18K. And granted, I haven't booked 100 calls this week. I've actually had like 15. But these 15 calls have converted into 5 deals, okay? So my close rate is now 30%. Could it be higher? Probably, but there's been people that I've turned away. So the point is, the whole closing stuff, yeah, you can get really smart and like go down the route of learning how to manipulate people on the call and trick them into really understanding why they need your stuff and open up that gap of their pain and how your fucking solution is the best thing for them. But the reality is, I rely heavily now on that front end and the first 4 bottlenecks to make this step easier. Hiring and managing a sales team is the biggest fucking pain in the ass ever. Sorry if any of you are previous closers of ours, but it was painful. So I've now stepped back, I've looked at my exclusivity, I've looked at how many people we can take on. I can take on calls now. I don't need to book hundreds and hundreds of calls. I just need to be speaking to the right people. So I make sure that happens there. And then that allows me to then start closing at a much higher rate, or at least pick people. So if I just signed up everyone, maybe I'd be at a 50% close rate, but then I'd be just taking on people for the sake of making money rather than taking on people because I know I can actually help them get results. So that is the 5 key bottlenecks. And if you can do that, you know, new clients is just a piece of piss, honestly. It saddens me to see so many people struggling with this. And the reality is, it's because you don't understand these first steps and you don't understand the importance of these 4 steps that lead you to that 5th step of closing more deals. Hopefully this video helped you. If you liked it, leave a like, let me know in the comments. This video right here is designed to help you as well in some way, depending on what it is. And if you want to work with us, if you're making over $25,000 per month, link in the description. You already know the drill. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.